HudInfoNews. Information and news for the people. If you're silent, others will speak for you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fathel bin Mukhtar, and I'm here with my guest tonight, Lennart Erik-Anders Nilsson. How are you, man?
Very good. Thank you for having me. So happy to be here.
So,
Well, I'm running for what's called at large. This is actually Ward D. I live in Ward D in Jersey City, but I've decided this time to run at large, and that's responsible for all of the wards, all of Jersey City. Yeah, I ran once before. I don't know if you know that, in 2005. And it was only me and the other candidate, and I didn't win. He was a 16-year incumbent, and he won. But I got 21% of the vote. So I figured it's time again to run. About how many years is that? It's like 12 years later.
About 12 years
Yeah.
later.
Mhm.
All right. So lately, you've made the transition from film director, actor, etc., into full-on electoral guy.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, but in a fun way crazy. Many actors and actresses are political. American film stars, there's nothing that bars you from being political, no matter what trade you are. So I have always been political. I always wanted to know about politics. I've always taken part in the electoral process, and I enjoy what we call democracy here, and I like justice for everyone. So it's important for me to be involved in the process and to keep my fingers on the pulse of what's going on, not only here in the United States, but globally. And we always say that politics starts local. So that's why I decided to run for the council board this time.
All right. So what was the transition like from actor, film director, etc., to looking for political office?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm going to be honest with you. They're very similar, because when you're an actor, you're always on. Even if you're not feeling good, if you're not feeling well, and you're not on set, people will recognize you as that character or as that film role. So they expect you to be a certain way. So a lot of actors and actresses, you have to always have this constant energy of being a particular way, a particular character. And politicians are the same way. It's on stage, there's a lot of lights, and I'm talking about modern day politics. This is what it's turned into be. Do I like it that way? No, I don't like it for politics. But they're very media conscious and very savvy of, how their hair should be, the lighting, how they should look. So it's very similar. It's very similar in the film world, entertainment and politics here in the United States. So not that I want to say it's all phony, because I don't think it is really phony. I think there are people who really care, and they do it from their heart. In a way, they're almost like anti-politicians. Some people, like a Jill Stein, or some of the more progressive.
Oh, like Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders or Ralph Nader, and they don't even have a consciousness about image sometimes. Bernie had his crazy hair, and Ralph Nader might come on with a tie, a little disheveled, but they're amazing people, and they're very principled, especially Ralph Nader, Jill Stein. Yeah. So I do see similarity. So for me, knowing about image and knowing about what the look is, it was very easy to make this transition. Yeah.
So you've been an outspoken critic for the recent gentrification in parts of Jersey City. Could you explain to us why you don't like gentrification?
Sure. It's not that I'm against progress. I love development. What I am against is the careless development where people get pushed out of their own neighborhoods. People who've lived here 30, 40, 60 years, maybe they were born here, and now wealthy developers come from who knows where, buying up property and push people out, renters mostly, or demolish homes and then build condos, three unit condos. And this is happening rapidly all throughout Jersey City, from Greenville to the Heights, and it's epidemic. So what I'm against is that there's no plan for the people who've been here. There's no help for them. There's no guidance. There's no affordable. I don't like this term, affordable housing. There's no affordable housing where they can transition into if they get priced out of a certain neighborhood. The reason I don't like that term, affordable housing, is because I feel all housing should be affordable. You should be able to go anywhere into any neighborhood and be able to afford an apartment. And now people here in Jersey City, in the Heights where I live, some of the apartments are going for $2,000, and that's way out of the price range of the average worker. You know, I'm really for the working class person, and I see more and more homeless people coming in, and this is also due to the gentrification. I met a homeless woman who recently became homeless because she was pushed out of her renting apartment she was renting, and she told me the whole story. She's pregnant, and now she literally is getting food out of the garbage. So we gave her help, and we gave her information, and we gave her choices where to go for food. But this is the unseen product of what's called gentrification, where people just come in and bulldoze through neighborhoods, pushing people out and building much more expensive properties, condos and such.
So after you've said all that, what do you think is an alternative solution to gentrification?
Well, developers should have some plan put into their blueprints. There should be a certain amount of units that would be affordable. There should be green space included in their plans for whatever they're building. For instance, in New York, they had the Twin Towers were built. There was a place called Zuccotti Park that had to be open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's what the Occupy Wall Street movement used to sleep there. That was put into the plans. You want to build these buildings? Sure, you can build this in this area, but you have to put a park. So I don't see any spaces that are open for the public being included. I don't see any really serious numbers for affordable housing being included. And again, for me, that's a nonsensical term, because I don't know who makes these numbers up. How does something go from being $500 a month to $2,000 a month, just in a span of maybe 15 to 20 years? I understand things, increase through the years, but I know my paycheck didn't quadruple in size, so why should somebody's rent? And these are the things we have to think about. We have to stick together, and we have to move forward in a progressive way, caring about all the neighbors, the people who are here organically. I always tell people too, try and move into the developer's neighborhood. See how welcome you are there. So why wouldn't there be a little resistance for people wanting to develop and push new people, into our neighborhoods? And I don't want to sound that territorial, because I'm inclusive and I love to have. The reason I moved to the Heights, because it is very so many different ethnicities, and I really enjoy that. And it's not like I want, you can't move here, but you have to be respectful of the neighborhood you're moving into. Some of the people, they just seem to not really care. They just when I was getting petitions the other day, one young couple, probably in their early 30s, they said, no, we want more gentrification. We want more gentrification. What are you going to do? We want more bars. I don't even drink by choice. Well, once in a while, New Year's, Happy New Year's, that's it. But I'm like, why would you, go to Hoboken? We don't want to go to Hoboken. We want to go out of our house and, go to a bar. That was their main thing. They didn't care. And I started to explain about all the businesses that were being lost to gentrification. They're like, oh yeah, well, that's too bad. It was the minority of people that I met have said that. It was maybe two, but it's still very shocking to hear that. People enjoy this. They're just like, yeah, get rid of these people, push them out somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay, so since you are considering to go for a council person and all that, what are some bills, if you were elected, that you would consider sponsoring if you were put in this position?
Oh, well, of course, I'm always for honoring people for their good work. Those are things that the council does too. They have resolutions. They would declare certain things. This woman would be honored for her work, let's say with the homeless or whatever. But right now, I can tell you what I wouldn't be for. I wouldn't be for what are called tax abatements, given out like candy to a lot of developers. When you give an abatement for a building, you're supposed to use that for a downtrodden area. You're supposed to ask a developer, hey, develop here in this area where it's not so nice. We'll give you a tax break. It's not supposed to be used for, hey, develop on this beautiful Gold Coast waterfront where you have all these gorgeous condos and glass penthouse and pavement, high rises. That's not what abatement is supposed to be used for. This current administration has given well over 70 abatements, and it's not to negate what the prior council gave. They gave quite a few. Goldman Sachs got a tax abatement. Now, why is that a problem? Because when you give a tax abatement, zero goes into the school system. Nothing goes into the school system. You lose all of that tax money. So that's a problem, because without educated children that have supplies to go to school, our system's going down, down, down. And I hear so many people complaining about the education system here, whether it's in Greenville or in the Heights. And that's a shame, because that should be a priority of any country. So, other things I would have to, as I went along, of course, I'm a big homeless advocate. I would probably try to get some kind of statement or resolution or some kind of, I don't want to say law, it wouldn't be law, it would be something about the homeless, encourage or bring attention to the homeless situation.
Yeah. So like you said that one of yours would be basically a bit more restrictions on the tax abatements, correct?
Yes.
Alright, so what decision, going on to the decisions that you don't like the tax abatements, giving out, as you said, like candy, what other decisions that have been done in the city are you opposed to?
Well, there's a reevaluation that's going on now for property owners, and they're calling it reval for short. And it was supposed to have been done 4 years ago, and it wasn't done. It's being done this year, and it seems to be it's just haphazard how it's from what I'm hearing people on the street, and I've met 1,000 and more people just talking to me about what's going on as I'm getting the petitions. They're not even correctly identifying what their house has. Some people are saying, they're getting checklists. Oh, you have a finished basement, you have 3 bathrooms, and then they have to challenge this tax assessment because they don't have a finished basement, they don't have 3 bathrooms, so they're being charged more or they will be charged more in taxes. So they have to, challenge it and correct it, and it's just nuts. The other problem is that what the thought process is that people who live in certain wards, I believe it's in Ward A and maybe parts of Ward F or B, that the taxes would have gone down a little bit in these wards, and that the downtown area, had this been done 4 years ago, of course it's going to go up because their property was built through the roof, all these tax abatements, gorgeous condos and everything. By the way, these tax assessment for the new property tax hasn't been done for decades. It isn't just this administration. They haven't done it for many, many, many years. But it was supposed to be done 4 years ago. The mayor, for whatever reason, put it off, and now they have to do it by law. Had it been done 4 years ago, the people in these lower income areas, it would have decreased. So they wouldn't have been paying the taxes for this 4 years, the past 4 years. They were paying more. And people in downtown area, which should have increased, because yes, you should be paying more taxes, because your property value went through the roof because of all the abatements and all the beautiful buildings that have been going up. So they've been paying less taxes, and other people in other areas have been paying more taxes. So that's very unfair. Yeah.
So recently the Jersey City poverty rate has skyrocketed to about 21%, and the national average is around 14-something% somewhat. So are there any specific actions that you would like to take to combat this, or do something with the other council people and the mayor, for example?
Sure. There's always, we could create some kind of a committee. We can talk to people. We can, we're limited with the kind of jobs really we can create. They would have to be city jobs, but there's always after-school programs for young people. There's always seniors we can hire for X, Y, and Z. But you know, getting the people involved in the process. What is their need? Just to hear people. Have some kind of an open forum where people can come and talk about what do you want? What do you need? That's something that I would like to do. Once I'm counsel.
So like a committee that directly takes comments from the impoverished and would basically pass them on to the committee.
Yes.
To the council.
Exactly, to the council. The other thing I'd like to see, this would be more of really a county issue. I would like to see more beds for the homeless people. In Hudson County, and we're part of Hudson County, we only have 180 beds for 1,000 homeless people. We count 1,000 every year, and they do it in the coldest month. So a lot of the people you don't find. If you did it today, in this warm weather, you'd find many more homeless. It wouldn't be just 1,000. But they do it in the coldest month. Many of us feel to keep the number down, because homeless people will be hiding somewhere. They'll be going, and this way you can't count them. So it seems like it's lower. It's actually more. Yeah, I would love to see more homeless shelters here. We have St. Lucy's, we have the Perk, which is in Union City, and we have Hoboken Shelter. That's 3 shelters for Hudson County.
For the entire county?
The entire county, and it's about 180 beds. So yeah, and I know it's not a city issue, but it is in a way, because I've seen more and more homeless. Here in the Heights, I've never seen as many homeless people as I do now. In Journal Square, we help with people all the time. For 20 years, I've been helping with my friends, Asti and Adela and Alex and Miguel and Jessica and Sonia, and we bring food and clothing and information to our homeless friends. And we've gotten some of them off the street, gotten them places to stay. But I see more and more new faces. I don't see the numbers decreasing. This is the United States of America, one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth.
Yeah, the wealthiest.
Yeah. And why can't... I always say this. If you're the most repulsive criminal, right? If you're the most horrid criminal, imagine whatever you want, and you get caught, you have a bed, and you have several meals a day, right? And it's all taxpayer funded. Now, we can argue about the should they have such nice facilities or whatever, but the fact is they do. These homeless people, they're just on the street, and they're just rotting away, and a lot of them, they don't want to commit crimes. And why not have some kind of process where there can be a liaison, you go meet them, somebody brings them to these services, which are there now in Hudson County. A lot of them don't even know that they have or can apply for social services. A lot of them are mentally ill. Yeah.
All right, so like we were just talking about the poverty, do you think there are any root causes or like main factors that have been contributing to this recent increase in poverty, or is it just a bunch of little problems sprinkled out that are really hard to notice?
It's a hard thing. It's a mixture of both. We have a society that we put more money, and nobody wants to talk about it, whether you're Democrat or Republican. We put more money into the war system, into the military, than mostly everything else. So if we would cut back, we put more money into the military than any other nation on the face of the earth, by far. And I think if you take the other top 5 budgets militarily around the world, we still are over that. So we should take care of our citizens. We should take care of our residents. We should take care of the people here, because without a good, educated, healthy population, you're just going to fracture, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing this, all the time, and the answer is really so easy. I don't know why they just don't cut the budget back a little bit and create other social programs. And I'm not talking about where you're giving away, so much fat and nonsense and color TVs and no, but what people need. People need food. People need a house over their head. People need basic health care. I don't. Other nations do it. Sweden does it. Cuba does it. You know, I mean.
Cuba?
Yeah, Cuba. They have free. Not that I want us to be like Cuba or want us to be like Sweden, but I'm just saying if these tinier nations can do it, and we're the most wealthy nation on the face of the earth, and certainly the most powerful, or one of the most powerful. Why can't we provide these same services? Education, healthcare, reasonable healthcare. Yeah.
So, you are a well-known activist, pacifist, am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to call myself a pacifist. I like the word activist better because, you know, when push comes to shove, I have no problem, you know, letting people know how it is. I love my friends who are pacifists, and I organize with them and respect them. But, you know, at a certain point, if somebody's doing something harmful to you, and it's 100% wrong, you're gonna resist. So I'm not a pacifist in the sense, just to clear that up, like, oh, I'm just gonna lay there and, oh, you know, turn the other cheek and get punched and beaten. No, that's not me. I'm go right to the root cause, go right to the reason, and you know, let's deal with it in a just and fair and you know, responsible way.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, especially on the name. You're part of the Jersey City Peace Movement, correct?
Yeah.
Alright, so what are your thoughts on the recent rise in violence in Jersey City?
It's absolutely appalling. I've never seen so many headlines in the Jersey Journal every day. I mean, just today there was a shooting in India Square, of all places. Yes, there was a brutal shooting. Several people were taken away to the hospital in stretchers. They were shot in the legs, I believe. Excuse me. And 2 weeks ago, there was a stabbing in Berry Lane Park. Little girls were stabbed. 14-year-old girls. Shootings, you know, murders. There was an unfortunate incident where police misidentified somebody. It was a victim who was on fire of a car crash, and the police thought he was the perpetrator, and they mistakenly, you know, dragged him out of the car and were not treating him the right way. Mistakenly, they thought he was the cause of this violent accident. So I see all these horrible things, you know, going on, and what the prior mayor did was something I endorsed, and it was called the gun buyback program. I don't know why this current mayor, Stephen Fulop, was against it, even when Mayor Healy was in. Even if it gets one gun off the street, to me that's a success. Where what they would do, the city would say on a certain week, hey, Jersey City, bring your guns. We'll give you, I don't know, $80 or $100 per gun. No questions asked. Bring in whatever gun. Didn't even matter if it worked or not. Is it a gun? Okay, here, we'll give you. Is it a BB gun? You know, so it got guns off the street, and you can kill somebody with a BB gun. You know, if, aimed the right way and put at the right or wrong place on their body. So these are just small things. You know, there could be some kind of, you know, coming together, some kind of call for people. You know, if I was the mayor, I'd be doing this consistently and constantly, going into the areas where there is this, you know, this street violence, and reach out to because a lot of these people have been marginalized their whole life. You know, that's all certain factions know, and it's very unfair. They don't have the opportunities that other people have, and they should get the education. They should have the opportunity to apply for jobs and to work other areas, and also there could be a better rapport with the police. You know, when there was a huge attack on the police here in Jersey City, where the former administration was trying to cut the police and cutting their pay. We were out there, even Jersey City Peace Movement. It was a little controversial. Some of our people were a little upset. You know, how could you stand up for the police? Well, how could you not? I don't care if you're the most hardcore, you know, I don't know what the right word is, criminal, thug, right? Whatever you want to say. The minute that your Maserati gets stolen, the minute that your house gets broken into, the minute that your wallet gets stolen from a club or from a bar, are you just going to not do anything? No. Who's the first person you call?
911.
Yeah, the police, right?
Yeah.
So our issue was we saw that as an attack on the police, and we saw it as an attack on a union because the police belong to a union. So what we want in a perfect world, and let's all aspire to that, is a good melding of responsible citizens and the protection that the police offer. That's what we would like.
So, due to the recent violence and what you just said, are there any specific bills, actions, or just things in general that should be done as a council person to curb this violence in some way, shape, or form? Like, what are your proposals for that sort of thing?
Reaching out to communities that you normally wouldn't reach out to. We do. Jersey City Peace Movement does it all the time. We will reach out to all different wards, all different nationalities, races. I mean, so many members are, just a beautiful rainbow of every color and religion. We have Jewish friends and African American, and we all come together. That's how it should be. If I was, if I were the mayor, if I was the council, have a committee, bring people together, do some kind of outreach, go into the neighborhoods, and don't do it, on a Saturday or Sunday. Go in, go in, I don't know, early in the morning. Go at 2 in the morning. Bring an entourage with you and go through the streets where there's the most violence and meet people and talk to them. People want to talk. That's their only some. If we're just talking about like drug crime and violent crime,
yeah,
that's their method of income, because that's what society has pushed them to do. Nobody grows up saying, "Gee, I want to, shoot people," or "I want to, sell whatever drug it is on the street." You're forced into that. You have no other choice. So I would do what I do now, what Jersey City Peace Movement does. We go in and we build bridges. I don't want to be. I'm not concerned with phony people. I'm not concerned with groups that are phony or they're only concerned about themselves. I have no time for that. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of fake groups that are put up as 501c3. And they do minimal things, or they'll do something for show. I'm not really interested in that. But we do reach out to everybody across the board, and we try to make some kind of cohesive group, and we've grown. And we've inspired other groups to be in Journal Square.
Alright, so now let's move on to a different subject, something a little bit less grim. Education. Like, what in our current school system, like either countywide or just citywide, what do you feel needs to be improved the most?
Well, we need to go into the areas that have been neglected first. And we need to stop overcrowding the schools. We need to have supplies for the schools. We need to make sure the budgets are fair for all the schools all throughout Jersey City. It's very unfair when you have half of Jersey City, these students have books and supplies and art supplies, and then the children in Greenville don't. I ran into a teacher 3 weeks ago, and she was in Newport, and she was buying supplies out of her own pocket because they were on sale. Because she starts in September, and she didn't have. She knows she's not going to have supplies provided by the school for her students, and that's appalling. And it's not just this one teacher. This is rampant, and it's all the time. Teachers put money out of their own pocket to buy construction paper, to buy pencils, to buy materials for their students to use. And again, this is the United States of America. We're not some underdeveloped, poor nation. This is appalling to me. And the only thing that I can think is that it might be a plan, that is the plan, to let certain areas just not have a proper education, because it's such a simple remedy. It's such a simple remedy. And it's sad.
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk recently in the news sites or just online articles of the way that other nations tend to pay their teachers. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it was one of the Nordic nations, Sweden, I think. Do not quote me on this, but they pay their teachers like 100 grand per year, or would you be in support for like teachers in Jersey City getting a higher salary rise?
It's probably not Sweden. People in Sweden are pretty, everything's kind of level. I don't know if a teacher would make 100,000, but that would be great if they did. I would not be opposed to that. Sure, yes. If we were going to cut the budget of the war and be able to pay teachers, I'm talking qualified teachers. I'm talking about, people who just ride by the coats of their tenure and they're not really into helping the students. But absolutely, why not? Why would these are the people who mold the minds of the future, so they should be rewarded. $100,000 sounds like, oh my God, what a huge salary. It's really not. It's really not when you think about it. Unfortunately, half of that'll go to taxes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that would be in the council's realm to decide that. That's really Board of Education and other entities would take care of that. But would I be for teachers getting more money? Absolutely. I'm also for, I'd be for the people who need and who are on food stamps and other social assistance. I'm also for that. I don't want to take it away from people. It should be increased, if anything. Yes, we should weed out the people who are just, surfing on the system. But I'm not gonna get too angry at that when we're again using our budget, our taxes, to go and bomb other countries. Let's stop that first. Don't condemn a poor mother who maybe she's buying shrimp with her food. Who cares? Who cares that she's buying shrimp with her food stamp? What do you care? She only gets a certain amount, and so. Yeah, for social services, I have no problem. This is USA for our people, for the people in the United States. Absolutely, take care of us. Take care of people here. Yeah.
All right. So, on the issue of taxes, aka most boring subject in the world, if you could put in with basically co-sponsoring a bill to introduce a new form of tax, like taxing a certain product, what sort of thing would you want to tax? And what would that money go for?
Wow.
That would come from that tax.
Okay, you're saying if I was a congressman, like if we were going to make a tax on something?
No, I think you can still do that as council person.
Okay, so let me think. I don't know. Oh, maybe something to do with the. Let me think. Because that's a good question. What would I tax? Maybe a luxury tax. Maybe, they took away the, all these buildings got an abatement. Maybe a higher, percentage of what people pay in these luxury apartments. I don't know. I really don't know. That's a tough one. I think we can cut other areas as opposed to raising other taxes in other areas. I think, again, for me, the military budget is way overblown. And I know it doesn't have anything to do with our city, but in a way it does. Because the federal gets so much of the money that there's less to delve out to the states. Yeah.
So, like, if you go to Jersey City, in some parts, the infrastructure is absolutely horrid. You'd see crumbling sidewalks here and there, etc., etc. Any certain proposals you would put forth to fix that?
So, yes. Oh my God. That's the second thing. You need a great infrastructure. You have to have an education, and you have to have a great infrastructure. We need the water system here is archaic. It needs to be overhauled in Jersey City. I'm surprised it hasn't collapsed yet, and we're going to be putting a lot of new pressure on it with all the rapid development that's going on in General Square, that's going downtown, that's happening in the Heights. Yes, sidewalks, the roads, some of the roads have been paved, but that's also, a lot of these are state funded, it's not really from the city. There's county roads, there's, state, so a lot of those are budgeted, every certain years, every few years to be paved. But yeah, anything in the city, yes. Fix the sidewalks. We need more green spaces. We need more trees. We need more flowers. We need more. I was happy that we were part of the push to get flowers put in, just something as simple as in the fountain in Journal Square, which isn't a fountain anymore. It's just the shell of a fountain, but they have these nice vases in there now. The plants, we have plants. Ta-da! There's one.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. But that's what we need. We need more, green space and yeah. And yes, infrastructure. I would be definitely for taking care of Jersey City, 100%. Not taking New York's garbage, not putting a pipeline through Jersey City, a gas pipeline like happened. We need to take care of our residents first. First.
Okay, so last question. What do you think of the whole election process that you've been going through, going out on the streets, trying to get signatures, etc., etc.? Like, what's the good in it, and what's the bad?
It's very time consuming. That's the bad, because you have to get to run for council at large. I'm sorry, or mayor. You need 1,350 something. So it's like, and that's a lot, and they have to be registered voters. So that's the bad thing. The good thing is I love meeting people. I love people. I love meeting new people. I love saying hi and chilling, talking, listening to the people. They want to talk. They want to give their views, and they want to really express themselves. So the positive thing for me is meeting the people, going all over. And I've been everywhere. I was in Liberty State Park, last week. I was in, Journal Square downtown. Greenville section. I was in Bergen Lafayette. All over. So I've gotten to really enjoy Jersey City the way it should be seen, and to enjoy all the residents. It's kind of a drag in a way that it has to be so many signatures, and the reason it's so many because they added up all the wards. There's 6 wards in Jersey City, so they added up all the wards, and that means at large now, or mayor. But here's a weird thing. I'm going to tell you something odd. If I wanted to run for Congress. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to run for Congress, I could see you doing that one day. If you wanted to run for Congress, take a guess how many signatures you need to qualify to run for Congress.
I wouldn't really know. A lot of people don't really pay attention to the congressional races. People just insult them, and that's pretty much it.
Correct.
I'd say for statewide, maybe 20,000.
And this is, Congress, they go to where? Washington, D.C., and they make the laws, right? These are the people making the laws that affect us all. Who should we bomb? Who should we do? These are, right? 100.
Wait, so just 100?
Yeah.
That's not fair, bro.
100 signatures to run for Congress in New Jersey. 100. But for this position, I needed 1,350 something. So it's just odd, Who makes these rules up? How do they? I don't know. Weird. But yeah, I just enjoy it. I love it. I love Jersey City. I love the people. I love your show.
Hopefully this will become a show.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's pretty much all the time that we have left. I'd like to thank you for being here.
Sure, it was great. Thank you.
Any last things you want to say?
Well, I would encourage people to vote. Get out and vote. It's your right. Register to vote if you haven't. Please, if you will do so, once I'm on the ballot and you're voting for at large, please vote for Lennart Erik-Anders Nilsson. And thank you for watching.
Have a good day, man.
HudInfoNews. Information and news for the people. If you're silent, others will speak for you.